Acid rain is a variation of precipitation with acidic components. Regular rain water consists of some carbon dioxide. When falling to the ground, raindrops absorb carbon dioxide to form carbonic acid, which is pretty weak in acidity and has a pH of 6, near neutral. It's when stronger acidic components, such as sulfuric and nitric acid, enters our rain to increase the acidity, decrease the pH value. They create acid rain with a pH of 4 or 3. From 1 to 10 in the pH scale, the measure of how alkaline or acidic a substance is, acid rain has an average pH of 4.3, and it could go even lower, which makes it relatively low. The acidity has increased by 1,000 times because each time the pH value changes by 1, it either increases in acidity by 10 times or decreases in acidity by 10 times. In this case, since the pH value decreased 3 times, its acidity multiplies by 10 3 times. 10 times 10 times 10 equals 1,000. So the acidity of normal rain has increased by 1,000 times. Acid rain is created within water vapor or clouds when nitric oxide, sulfur dioxide, and carbon dioxide, though very weak, are released high into the atmosphere. They mix and react with the water, oxygen, and other chemicals, which then creates acid rain. The one natural cause of acid rain is volcanoes. This happens when volcanoes erupt and eject numerous types of chemicals high up into the atmosphere, which includes sulfuric oxide, carbon dioxide, and hydraulic acid. They then mix and react along with the water vapor and oxygen, which turns into acid rain, pouring down to the surrounding. Though volcanoes are one of the causes to acid rain, man-made factories and vehicles take a lead to the cause. This happens when combustion of fossil fuel and car exhaust burn coal and oil, which then goes high into the atmosphere, turning to sulfuric and nitric acid. Factory combustion mainly exhausts sulfur dioxide, leading to sulfur dioxide to react with oxygen to create sulfur trioxide, which then reacts and mixes with water vapor to create sulfur acid, and then later turns into its form of acid rain. Car exhausts nitrogen from its car cylinders, which then mix with oxygen to create nitrogen oxide. This then reacts with water vapor high up in the atmosphere to create nitric acid, then later rains down in the form of acid rain, like sulfuric acid. For acid rain effect on the ecosystem, we will be first starting with the effect on plants and trees. Soil is known to naturally form a metal called aluminum, which keeps the soil rich. Aluminum is insoluble, meaning incapable of being dissolved, and is harmless to a neutral soil, meaning at a pH of 7. But as acid rain leaches with aluminum, it can make it soluble, capable of being dissolved, and also harmful to plants. This means when living plants take in aluminum and acidic soil, it weakens the structure of the plant. Also, acid rain takes out most of the nutrients and minerals in soil necessary for the plant's growth. Without these vital components, plants and trees are left with brown and dead leaves. Now we will start off with acid rain effect on wildlife. Though acid rain doesn't have much of an effect on land animals, it has a far greater effect on underwater aquatic environments. As acid rain flows through soil, it gets strained with aluminum, which then releases aluminum along with acidic rain into lakes. Some types of plants and animals are able to tolerate acidic water and moderate amount of aluminum. Others, though, are acid sensitive and will be lost as the pH declines. Starting at a pH of 6, basic form of food dies such as mayflies and stoneflies. Now going lower at a pH of 5.5, most fish cannot reproduce, and young fish have a difficulty staying alive. At a lower pH of 5, the entire fish population dies off, leaving them buoyant and visible on the water surface. At a pH value of 4.0, very little life is left. Only the most acidic tolerant species thriving. But for a thriving field, things aren't over yet. Remember, most life has dissipated, leaving very little to no food for the survivors. Acid rain could affect the food supply for species. for example, frogs. Frogs are one of the amphibians of the aquatic environment and can sustain themselves underwater even at a pH of 4.0. But the frog's main food source, mayflies, which can't sustain in an environment at a pH any lower than 5.5. When lakes are contaminated with acid rain, all mayflies will be wiped out and no food for frogs. This then leaves the food chain incomplete. So for the most part, acid rain has a negative effect on aquatic and forest areas. There are numerous ways how acid rain can affect the economy. Acid rain can potentially kill large numbers of fish in aquatic areas, which could significantly affect the ability to sell fish. People rely on selling fish for their income, and without fish produce being sold, then they will lose their jobs. Fast productions may come to a halt, affect many employees' work revenue. Crops could easily become dead because of the effect of acid rain, losing necessary nutrients and minerals, as I said earlier. For farmers dealing with this situation, this will make it hard for them to sell quality crops. Damage to buildings because of acid rain, dry precipitation on limestone can lead to increase in maintenance cost. And lastly, acid rain can cause damage to a car by corroding paint and makes cars look dirtier. For the most part, acid rain damages the flat surface of a vehicle. The only solution to this is to replace the coat of car paint with acid rain resistant paint, but in turn, the cost of vehicles will increase to compensate for the cost of resistant paint. Electricity primary source of energy comes from fossil fuels, coal, natural gases, and oil, which in turn burn chemicals that are released into the atmosphere to create acid rain. One important step you can take is to conserve energy. You can do this by reducing your use of lights, computers, televisions, and video games. All these necessities use electricity from primarily the same source, such as fossil fuels, but encourage your parents to buy equipment that uses efficient electricity, specifically Energy Star label equipment. These necessities use electricity that is more efficiently generated from wind turbines or is generated by hydroelectricity. Hydroelectricity is made from the movement of water.